What's going on, everybody? Welcome
What's
to
up?
the late night live design session discussion, everything thing.
What's up?
What's up, Cole? How you doing, brother? Carco, how you doing? Neil McKenzie, welcome. Effie Peskins in the house. How you guys doing tonight? More importantly, how's the music level?
Good.
And the voice level.
Good.
Well, what I realized for us, the whatchamacallit, the audio sounds very different to the people on the other end of the stream.
Yeah.
So, definitely like to check in with people, see how they're feeling about it. And oh, that's a horrible deal. All right, man, what a week already.
It's Wednesday already.
I know, right?
Damn.
Absolutely crazy.
It's crazy.
Ooh, hello. Guess what? I got a shipping notification. And in 2 days, I will have my new phone.
Hey, okay.
That was quick. That was very
Google.
quick.
They actually, when I got my Pixel 4 XL,
yeah,
it came quick. Like it came like 3 days after.
Yeah, that's. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, I think I placed the order on Sunday.
Yeah, it was quick.
So, for it to come Friday. Okay, I'm not complaining one bit.
I'm about to also order myself a phone this Sunday.
Nice.
I'm probably gonna go with just a murmur for you guys. You guys are gonna hear me while I'm gonna order.
So, did you decide on the 8 or the 8 Plus?
I'm gonna get the 8, and then I'm probably gonna get the headphone, the earbud.
Okay, instead of the watch?
Yeah, because the watch, I realized that the reason why I didn't get the first watch is not because the feature, it's because the size.
Okay.
Yeah, I want a bigger watch. The size of the watch is very small, and I want this size like bigger on my wrist.
Gotcha.
This size is bigger than my wrist, and the one that I have right now. Oh my god, it's out there. The one that I have right now is smaller than that. That's why I didn't go for the first Pixel watch. I wanted to just gonna wait it out a little bit to see if they're gonna release a different size.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
It's not the feature, actually. It's totally not a feature. The feature is good. It's just the size, and I just like the bigger watch.
What up, Joby?
And Sherif knows, like when I visit you, I had that big watch on my wrist. Yeah, I like that size watch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not one to talk. I mean, I've got a huge wrist, but like a bigger watch, like, kind of just feels better, you know, a lot of the time. And so I do not blame you.
Yeah, but then I need an earbud. That's why I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go for an earbud. I mean, I have one here. This is the original, the first generation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's old, and it's not like, because it's first generation. Always when you get the first generation device, there's always bug that is unsolved. They can't solve it because the hardware is there. They just have to wait for a second gen.
Fair. How you doing, 0 Bytes? Welcome, dude.
So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna get the Pixel 8 and then just get the earbud, and that's probably gonna cost me like $700 nonetheless.
Yeah. Oof.
Which it's good because it saves me some money.
Yeah. It's I mean, all the new phones are ridiculously expensive no matter how you slice it. You know? Like, there's no avoiding it.
There's no avoiding it, yeah.
unless you really get like a hardcore mid-tier phone, they're all
They're all pricey.
they're all at least $700 minimum,
Yeah.
if not more.
Yeah.
How do you guys in the chat feel about that? Like, a phone is kind of become like mandatory. I'm sure some of you guys are on your phones right now. So, like, how do you really feel about the expense?
Especially when you think about a phone back then, back in the old time, when a phone was just a phone that is a tool. But then in the modern day, the phone kind of become an accessory, a part of you.
Yeah, it's no longer just a tool. It's like your everything.
So what do you guys think about it? What do you guys think? Like, is it the right way of going, or is it just the way it is, or should it go back to the old original way?
You know, it's really funny because I think about that, right? And there have been like several phone projects that have come out, you know, where they pare down the phone to just being a phone and not run like a bunch of apps, and they whatchamacallit, also will put like limitations or like a software that limits like when you can get phone calls and stuff like that, right? So that you can like live your life, engage in the moment, like stuff like that, right? But then I get enamored with the concept, but then I think about it, I'm like, yeah, but then I can't do my online banking. Like, yeah, then I can't, connect to this piece of software that does this specific job for me, and it's funny, but it's like the phone's become like a multi-tool, where it's like, okay, I need a screwdriver, it has a screwdriver, it has a file, it has it, I need a knife, it has it, it has pliers, it has it. And like, I don't want to be without a lot of those tools for day to day, like I do a lot of like bank transfers, so banking stuff is important for me. I deal with a lot of stuff with like PayPal, etc. Like a lot of finance stuff, plus all of my social media and marketing stuff. And it's like, dude, the thing has become a necessity. It is.
It is. And you don't have to have a TV, or you don't have to have a computer, but you need a phone.
right. And that's the funny thing, right? Yeah. Like, nowadays you can more and more exist with like literally just a phone, not need a computer, not need a TV, and get all of your stuff on there,
Crazy. It's crazy how technology has came about.
Yeah.
In such a short, 10 years, 20 years, it's still short.
Think about it, right? Like in the late 90s, we had the Motorola brick phone, for God's sakes, right? Yeah. So for us to go from that to where we are in this amount of time is actually pretty psychotic.
It's crazy to think about it. It's actually very insane.
And think about the new Google like Pixels are going to have the most AI on board out of the box of any phone out there. Like MKBHD, Marcus Brownlee, right? Like he said, the Pixel phones are basically, they're not like tech spec the best, but they are the smartest phone in the room.
It's
pretty nuts.
That's what got me into Pixel in the first place, actually, because originally Google is not a tech company, it's actually a search engine company.
Yeah.
But then they have been using all that data to create their AI and their technology. And when the first Pixel came out, I actually wanted to get it, but back in the time I had the HTC.
Yeah.
So I was like, I should have got the first Pixel. But when the first Pixel got out, it's groundbreaking because it's not the highest. It's not the highest feature. It's not the highest spec you can have on the phone. But then the software does everything, and the software kind of changed the phone.
Oh, complete. Well, and that's the reality of like good product design, right? Like you don't spend money on the things that you don't need, you know? And like, I think we can all acknowledge that from even the very first iPhone, the game has always been software. It's just that like a lot of people like Apple, for example, have kind of forgotten that.
Right.
You know? Even even Samsung, you know, they just want to like supercharge your specs, and then like they add bloatware. So like I've had a Samsung for a while, guys. I'm like 0 bytes here. I don't upgrade unless I have to.
Me too, actually.
My first new phone in 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And I'm way past security updates.
Yeah.
You know. So that's honestly why I'm upgrading. Like my phone doesn't last half a day battery wise, you know. My whatchamacallit, my security updates just don't come anymore, you know.
Me too. I had I mean, this one is my old phone. I recently just my newer phone just died. I went back to I have a spare phone around. I just use it, but this phone is from 2015.
Yeah,
it's a Sony Xperia. It's from 2015, and it's no longer getting updates. It's even older than my Pixel 4 XL.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, so it's what is really interesting to me is. And I'll talk about it, but I do agree with Cole here. It is a bit excessive. I do appreciate that they do realize that not everybody has like $1,000 to spend on a phone.
Yeah.
But I'm with the philosophy that 0 bytes has. The way I look at it is, if I take $1,000, invest in a phone, and then I spread it out over 5 years of ownership of the phone, right? Like, then the cost per year is reasonable, you know, for the investment. It's kind of what I do with my computers, you know. I'll get a high spec machine, a high spec laptop, but then again, my laptop is from like 2017 as well. And it still does everything I need, even though the battery hasn't charged in probably the last like 3 years. Like, it needs to be perpetually plugged in. But like, for the purposes that I use it for, it's still kicking ass. So it's like, okay, like, do I even need to upgrade it right now? Not really. Do I need to upgrade it like next year? Probably not, you know. So I'm getting, like, typically with my computers, I get like 7 years of use out of them. So if I drop 3K and then I break that down over 7 years, that's actually not a bad investment. You know. So now Dopey says, yeah, he has an S22 Ultra, costs him $1,300, but it's completely worth it for what it comes with. Use my phone for everything. No computer or tablet. 99% of the time, it's even his TV. Yeah, see, for $1,300 for it to do all of those things, be a phone, be a computer, be a TV, that's actually a steal financially, you know. So, what up, Milton? How you doing? Welcome.
What up?
And 0 bytes. That's actually exactly why I ended up getting the Pixel 8 Pro as my next phone, because they have committed to 7 years of updates, which is amazing.
Crazy. It's the first ever first company that ever does this is that Google.
Yeah, exactly. And so 7 years of updates is massive, massive. You know, and it ensures that like I'm gonna have a device that I can carry on into the future without being forced to upgrade anytime soon.
Yeah.
So that was a really like normally I don't shop like that. Like if I look at things, I usually look at specs, capabilities, etc. But that one for me, that one really sold me. Because Joe and I were talking about it before the release of the phone, and Joe was like, "Oh yeah, they'll probably support it for like 3 years."
Yeah.
You know,
3 to 4 years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they dropped that news,
Yeah.
and both of us were like, "What?"
Typically for Google Pixel, it's 5 years for 3 to 5 years at least. But
Yeah.
7 years it's crazy.
Mhm. Absolutely. What up, Cheeto Bandito? How you doing, man? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Crispy Critter, my brother.
I
How
am
you doing?
actually very interested on hearing you guys. Are you team Android or team Apple?
I think a lot of people in here are team Android, but I could be mistaken.
And I actually wanted to hear your thought on why you choose Apple or Android. I mean, for us, me and Sherif, we are Android because it's just easier for us to work with, and again, that software update,
Yeah,
and that accessibility of Google with your Gmails and YouTube and all that stuff is just easier for us.
See, what's really interesting to me is like I switched over to Android because of the drone industry. And so when I was working in the drone industry, there was software or things that I could do with my drones using Android software exclusively. And you couldn't sideload software with that kind of capabilities into the iPhone because of the sandboxing, right?
Yeah.
But then what kept me in Android was the interface and then the access to like the file system structure, right? Like I have an app called My Files. So if I download a PDF, I can search for that PDF like a computer, find it, open it using a PDF viewing app, right? I don't have to have it download in some obscure location or has to be like an app specific. Like one of the things that used to drive me nuts with iPhone is that I had to load up iTunes. This is back in the day. I don't know if it's anymore. But if I wanted to transfer files over to Apple devices, I had to load them into iTunes to transfer over to the Android device. And that made me so crazy.
I was just having this conversation with Andy just a few minutes ago, like 30 minutes ago. I told him when iTunes came out, that's actually a big reason why I didn't use Apple, because I don't like iTunes, and the way iTunes is setting up and the way iTunes is its accessibility, it's really hard to use. Dude. And if you think about back then, the MP3 player, for any MP3 player other than Apple MP3 player, like an iPod or something, any MP3 player, you can just connect your USB, connect it through USB on your computer.
Drag and drop.
Later just drop your music as a file into an MP3 player. But no, Apple has to do their own way by using iTunes and then sync everything up and then sync the other thing around and then delete other thing around. It's just chaos.
Yeah, it drove me nuts. What up, Descentian? How you doing? And now, so Cole, I agree. Actually, both companies, Apple and Google's data collection, by any measure, has gotten out of control.
In fact, your phone is probably listening to you. right now.
Oh no, like it is there. So I watch interviews with like governmental people, people who used to work in the CIA, like stuff like that. Uh, your phone, even with it off, can still ping cell towers,
Yeah.
can still ping, GPS and stuff like that. And it still can collect data, even if the phone is off. It's never truly 100% off.
Yeah, it's never
And
truly 100% cut off from the internet.
yeah, and so there's actually a solution for that, by the way. Um, there is a group of like former, like, if I'm not mistaken, either CIA or NSA guys who got together and they developed this. I just heard about this week, and this is called the Up Phone. And basically, their whole thing is that it's a phone that they developed their own version of Android. So it's based off of Android. It has a built-in encrypted messenger, built-in VPN, antivirus protection, all of that stuff, right? And then it comes with like a suite of software that can completely like isolate you from any of those systems. One of the things that it actually does is where is it? They talk about it in the feature suite. Yeah. It does not interact with Google's tracking software, their data collection. So they've actually removed it from that data collection system, which is really, really cool. And so you can be completely isolated. What also they have is like a true kill switch that completely disconnects the battery, like internally. So even if your phone is off, there is no way for anybody to ping your device anywhere under any circumstances.
That's really cool.
And you have an emergency passcode that if you put it in, let's say like on the login, it instantly erases all of your data and alerts your emergency contacts, which is super sick. Like these guys have really thought about it like quite a bit, which I really, really dig. This may be something you want to look into in the future, Cole, because yeah, see, your data is not being monetized, sold, or shared with anybody with their suite of software, right? So they have their own software store, communication without being intercepted or watched, their own unique VPN, their own antivirus to control malware, and this whole thing. Nobody has access to your data. And you can actually, I believe you can sideload their apps directly onto any Android device. So I think that's really cool. They do have a monthly fee though, if you want to get into like the highest tier, which is unlimited access to the VPN, audio video calls with up to 50 participants, yada yada yada. But just throwing it out there, this is an interesting response to where things have been going in the phone market.
It's definitely interesting.
Yeah. Yo, where was it? Hey, Winchester. Good night. Have a great night, great day. Thanks for popping in. Dobie says he's been Team Android since the first Android phone, the G1. Got it the first week of the release. Dang.
Very cool. Damn.
and F Apple. Dude, it's actually, yeah, it is a good go-to phone for criminals. But like the cartel down south of the border, they have built their own cell phone network. So, like
That's crazy.
actually, yeah, like they control everything. So nothing is going out of their purview, and nobody can hack it. Nobody can monitor it unless you have a device on that network. It's really crazy.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true, man. Like, predictive search almost was like the start of it all, Like, we accepted that our stuff our inputs were going to be monitored the second we wanted a little bit of convenience. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's frustrating because, like, when you talk to people, for example, from mainland China, like, the government is literally one of the largest consumers of their population's data in the world, right? Like, at least like Apple and Google are corporations doing it for profit. The government in China is literally absorbing and monitoring their entire populace, like, constantly.
Yeah.
And the average person, their perspective on it is like, oh, well, I'm okay. I have nothing to hide, blah, 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 blah. But what happens when they change their mind about you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard about, like, the undesirables in China. Basically, since they use, like, facial tracking and monitoring of, like, all of your data, all of your movements, in China, they even monitor your battery charge rates on your phone, right? And, like, when you charge your battery, to see how good you would be at paying back loans, right? They're making all of these crazy, like, assumptions based on your behavior sets, that if you fall into their socially undesirable category, or let's say you have loans that you haven't paid back, anything like that, they can literally restrict your movements. They can cordon you off to a certain part of, like, a city and ensure that you have no like, access to travel. And if people interact with you, their, like, kind of social credit score goes down. So then they can actually isolate you through that. They can put your face up on giant billboards to, like, shame you. So, like, it's a black mirror situation for sure, like, on the low key, if these things go too far, that's why I get excited about seeing projects like this unplugged phone, because it's a natural response to those kind of concerns,
China crazy. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Even a lot of my Chinese friends, they don't, they can't say anything about that. It's crazy.
Well, yeah,
just how it works.
Yep. It just is what it is, you know? Yeah, and see, this is the problem, Dopey, right? You keep your phone charged constantly, and it's not a reflection of, let's say, your behavior as a creditor, right? But at the same time, they're still trying to make those correlations. And that's the dangerous part, because there is it proven that there's a correlation, or did somebody just decide one day that there was a correlation? And if somebody just decided one day that there's a correlation that isn't in your favor, your freedoms can swing like that, and that's a terrifying thing, right? So that's the issue with stuff like that, in my eyes. It's a really, really scary thing, at least from my perspective. But we haven't gotten to that point in the US, and I don't think we ever will, just because we're so driven by corporations here that we're not at risk for it, versus China. China's obviously driven very much by the government.
So, yeah, that's what the whole country is made out of.
yeah, exactly. And just so you guys know, like, this isn't I'm not saying anything, for example, that would offend Joe, because Joe's not Chinese, Joe's Taiwanese. So there's a big fucking difference there. So yeah, and the reality is, like, I'm also not saying anything that our Chinese friends in America wouldn't instantly agree with.
Yeah, because we have a lot of Chinese friends.
Yeah.
And they agree with what we're saying.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason they're here and not there.
No, literally.
To say it. So, yeah, man. But all of this stems from cell phones, believe it or not. Because, like, a lot of people in Asia in general, I mean, I first noticed it with the Japanese back in their era of flip phones and NTT Docomo. Cell phones became a way of life for people, like, perpetually, So it was inevitable that it was going to happen here. You can always look to Japan for where future trends are going to go. For sure.
Definitely.
I mean, Joe and I joke, we hate on Apple, but nobody is doing it perfect.
Apple is doing what they need to do for the market. It's just how they are. But I mean, if you like their product, you go for it. But if you don't, then there's other option.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm not saying the way Apple doing it is wrong. It's just not my style.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm the same way, really. I mean, it's funny, I use my dad's iPhone every once in a while, because he'll, like, ask me to look something up, or, whatever, like, get into a certain app and pull out something that we're talking about. And every time, after, like, a few swipes here and there, I want to throw it against the wall.
That's how bad it is, huh?
It frustrates me so much,
Yeah.
It's like, why doesn't this work the way I think it should work? And then my brain starts firing.
Well, that's how, as a brand, Apple does their. Apple is really good as a brand, and that's how they sell their product, and that's how they sustain themselves. To get everybody, because the phone is so easy to use, you don't have any second doubt about that phone. So they will get into Apple and then get their computers, their device sync up everything easily, and for those
And
people,
that's the thing. The ecosystem works,
yeah,
but I hate that it pins you into doing
yeah,
things a certain way. Like I've always been a huge advocate of agnostic systems, which mean like it should be equally as easy for you to do things on Windows as it is on Apple, as it is on Linux, right?
yeah,
And I shouldn't have to pin myself into one corner in order to get the best experience out of things.
right,
So, like, for me, my laptop is an Apple, but my phone is an Android. And my tablet that I use when I
the
travel
PC,
and stuff like that is Windows.
yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah,
So, like, I practice the device agnostic lifestyle, like, completely, you know? Now, this Zero Bytes is really crazy. There has been a lot of this going on, even by like city police and things like that, and it's something that should be taken up in the courts. Like genuinely, like no third party should be tracking you for any of your choices, you know,
yeah,
and there's no reason for them to need or interact with that kind of data about you under any circumstances, in my opinion. You know? Now, this is very true, and this is also another thing that I didn't like about the Apple subculture, right? Uh, a lot of people don't like a lot of Apple fanboys don't
yeah,
realize that like for a lot of what people do and use their phones for, Android is many times like superior.
and even
But
many times the spec is better.
yeah, but there's this whole like culture around, what's cool, what's in, are you this color bubble or that color bubble kind of thing. And because of that, like, there's this social pressure to conform. I mean, I know when I was at school, and you figure it's a design school, everybody's gaga there about Apple, right?
Latest technology, Apple.
Yeah. No, I mean, everyone was crazy with Apple. When I switched over to Android, I got so many comments of people being like, oh, well, why'd you switch? Blah, 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 this and that.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like,
I got that too.
what I also realized was that a lot of people are afraid of not being in the know. So if you go outside of the norm, then that suggests you may know something that they don't know. And they would much rather, they want you in the in group because it affirms that their decisions were the right thing,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And like if you break out of that behavior set, then it throws them for a loop because you're like, wait a second, if this person is one less person who does things the way I'm doing, am I doing things wrong? And like that's a terrifying feeling for people because people don't want to feel like they're not in the know, which is really, really like it's a whole thing in social psychology, right?
it's really annoying.
It is, but if you know how to play it, then you can
Yeah.
really mess with people,
Yeah.
You can really like be like, oh well, I guess you don't know.
Yeah,
And then people will be like, oh, well, what do you mean? What do you mean I don't know? or like you can be like, oh, well, I guess you're just not that cool,
Yep.
and that concept like freaks people out, like massively freaks people out. So just throwing that out there. Now, Cole still uses, or not still, Cole uses Linux on the daily, which is why Cole is such a gangster. There's not a lot of Linux users.
No, there's not. Definitely not.
But that's why Cole is the gangster that he is. Dude, knowing that you use Linux now, that makes like your design work that much more impressive to me, because I don't know about how easy it is to do design work on a Linux machine. Are there like software suites for Linux on there for like artwork? Let's see. Catching up with the chat. Yeah, man, straight up text bubble racism. You're right, dude, 100%. And Samsung does tend to have some of the best cameras in the game, for sure. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Cole, check out that unplugged phone, man. I mean, having a true hardware kill switch, emergency like code base erase like all your data system. That thing's pretty hardcore, you know. Yeah, exactly. The desire to be in the know is the reason why unknown is so strong. For sure. For sure. You nailed it, Dopey. That's exactly what it is, right? People are all freaking out trying to figure out all of the unknowns like cryptic messages because they don't want to be, not like out of the know. You nailed it on the head, my friend. Like 100%. And that FOMO, man, the fear of missing out, it's a powerful force, dude. Especially nowadays because everybody has been trained like dogs to respond to it. You do it all on iPad. Okay, that makes sense. Dude, the Wacom tablet I have is actually very cheap. I had friends like trying to convince me to spend more on it, but dude, I have like one of the cheapest Wacom tablets, and I have experience using high end Wacom tablets and all of that stuff. But dude, the cheap one does the job for me beautifully. So you don't need to spend like over $100 or hundreds of dollars or whatever they go for nowadays.
I don't even use Wacom tablet.
They're nice. They're really nice in a lot of scenarios.
Yeah.
But definitely, like as a designer, as an artist who does use it like a fair amount, you don't need like an expensive high-end one like a lot of people try to convince you. Yeah,
Simple one works.
Simple one works so well.
In fact, you can actually render a product without even a Wacom tablet.
Yeah.
You just have to make your sketch right,
no,
in the computer, and then use your mouse and keyboard, and then just mask it everything out.
Dude, that's interesting, man. It may be how you grew up, you know, the millennials and younger generation definitely this is a huge trigger for them. The whole unknown thing, you know. So just to uh, explain to you, Joe, what the unknown is, right? There is a brand in the EDC world that just kind of like hit the scene and started putting out like really cryptic messages about like certain things. Like they put like a date, or they put like GPS coordinates, you know, to a certain location. And in order for you to figure out the password to their website, you had to figure out what all the cryptic messages meant.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
And once you figured it out and you put in the password, if you got it right, then you were able to go and like purchase whatever their drop was,
Interesting.
which is
Okay.
pretty genius, you know?
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, because like it creates an exclusivity without being like
Yeah.
outright exclusive,
No,
you know?
that's a good business model. Good way of
Yeah,
creating hypes and creating, what's that called? Creating the need.
yeah. And dude, it created so much hype, you know? And people would get into like group chats and try to like figure it out together and all of this stuff. And so like yeah, it just created a fervor. Like it's nuts, you know?
Very
Um
interesting.
and what made it even more interesting is like the unknown started coming into like live streams
Mm,
and like sometimes dropping hints in live streams, or they would like talk about themselves as like a collective being. Like they'd say, you know, we are the unknown. Like
I
they use like we and they, you know, like those kinds of words,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have no idea who they truly are, kind of thing.
Mm,
And so now also a lot of people are like trying to figure it out. Like, oh, is it this person? Is it that person? So the mystery keeps the unknown in everybody's mind all the time.
interesting. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
That's actually a really good way of hyping stuff up.
it is. It's super well done. And actually, I'm gonna be working with them,
Mm,
and I'm doing that in part because I want to learn the techniques.
yeah. You
You
should.
know, I want to learn the marketing techniques
Yeah.
of how they think about things, because I see the success, you know, and how they're approaching things is really getting the reaction and the response,
Very
you
interesting.
know, because that's nowadays that's also how to beat the slumps, you know,
Yeah.
in terms of sales. If you can really generate hype, you know, in a way where people are excited to interact with your brand,
Yeah.
it's so huge. I mean, if you think about all of the modern companies, they do product leaks,
Yeah. They do.
you know,
Yeah.
and they're doing those leaks in order to generate some degree of hype before their product hits the market,
Yeah.
you know, so that when their product hits the market or they make their announcements, then people will jump on them and be like, oh, I need to have it, you know, like that kind of thing. So Yeah. And it has, just like Crispy's saying, it has like spread like wildfire, you know?
Interesting.
Dude, I wish I was clever enough to have come up with a concept before it came out, you know? I really do wish I was. Man. It was the chauffeur in the kitchen with the candlestick, is what Crispy said. Dude, yeah, exactly. It was Sharp Guy. Sharp Guy was the chauffeur. Yeah, man. It's really interesting, and it's like I wonder how that's going to impact like the future of products, right? Like imagine if Google did something crazy like that. Like I know Google used to do that with their jobs. They would put out like a formula, you know, and a formula would take you to a website with another thing, and then that would have you figure out something else. And then if you could pass each one of those tiers, you were offered a job by Google back in the day,
Yeah.
which is super gangster if you think about it, you know?
Yeah.
So, are we going to have to start doing that with products? Like, what if Nike did that with the next generation of their shoes? Like, that would be crazy, right?
It's like what Ferrari is doing, like all those supercar companies are doing. Yeah.
A little bit,
Like
yeah.
you have to have, you have to have previous gen several years, or you have to
Mhm.
qualify to be able to buy stuff that you want, to be able to buy the latest model. You have to be qualified.
Now, here's the question, though, and this is the question to everybody in the chat. What do you guys think about that? Because that goes counter to the very nature of America, right? America, we are the land of democracy. So everybody should have a fair opportunity to have access to everything at the same time, right? So if now you're excluded because you can't figure out this puzzle, like how does that make you feel? You know, like I know for me, it definitely, I'm not super excited if I miss out on something because I can't figure it out. But that's also because, you know, I've been born and been here my whole life where everything is democratically available at all times, you know? So, like, okay, what's the specialness of that thing then if I can't get my hand on it, you know? Yeah, see, Cheeto says, makes him feel like he doesn't want it, you know? What Blade HQ puzzle? Like why they exist? Shade. No, but like, yeah, I'm really curious about that because America is unique in the world because of our democracy, right? The concept that everybody has equal access to everything at all times. Nobody is excluded. There is no tiers to society, right? Like if you think about Italy, for example, you have like Diesel, which is like supposed to be like for the people, like Diesel clothing brand, and then you have like Louis Vuitton, you know, or not Louis Vuitton, but because they're French, but Prada, right? So you will, if you're at a certain tier of society, Diesel is what you aspire to. You'll never be able to afford Prada. Prada is for the next tier of society. We do that here just based on pricing, but it's not like a social construct to consider that thing not of our level ever. We say, oh, well, if I just earn enough money, I can get there. They don't have that same concept. And that's largely because, like, Italy had kings and queens, right? A lot of countries that have kings and queens are part of that structure of system. In the U.S., it's been a level playing field.
Everybody's the same,
basically. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. See, a lot of people have issue with that here, especially not knowing what you're getting. Oh, that's interesting. I had no idea about this, that they put out like a jigsaw puzzle. That is I do consider that a little bit of a scam. Social media people did that a while ago. A kid by the name of David Dobrik created a puzzle that if you solved it, you'd get like $10 million, you know? But then, like, people did the mathematics on trying to solve it, and it was like 1 in like 30 million people would ever be able to solve the thing because it was so complicated, you know? So interesting that Blade HQ kind of went down that route. Sleep well, Neil. Have a good night, man.
Sleep well. Sleep well.
Yeah, so what do you guys think about this whole if you can't figure it out, you don't get it kind of thing? You know? I mean, what about you, Joe? How do you feel about it? You haven't said your thoughts on the matter.
I mean, I'm just trying to process it, right? Because, again, back to the hypercar or supercar brand metaphor.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's really hard to say if I will be able to take it or not.
Yeah,
I guess it all depends on what that brand can give me and what I can experience with it.
Well, see, and that's the thing, right? Like, if you're part of the Ferrari world, for example,
Yeah.
that does gain you a degree of like entree
Yeah.
to things that you may not have ever had entree to before,
Yeah.
right? But on the flip side, you know, you can also go to like a used supercar dealer and buy any of those things without having to worry about it, right? Like, if you have that kind of money.
It's just, are you willing to spend, well, not spending, but are you willing to use that money for something else that is not the highest and the best?
Well, yes, and well, yeah. I mean, that may be
in
like
that note,
Lamborghini, right? Or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But also, there's the, like, again, the other side of like, if you want an SF90, for example, and you have the money for it, right? You can go to Dubai right now and walk into any freaking showroom and buy an SF90. And if you have the money for an SF90, you probably have the money to transport it to wherever you live.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, right? So it's really, do you want to deal with Ferrari's BS of like, okay, you have to have a track record with us and you have to buy maybe several other cars that you don't want before you can get the car that you would like to own. And even by then, that car may be sold out. Like, I don't know. It seems like a ridiculous system. You know?
It seems stupid, to be honest. Yeah. But again, as a designer myself and Sherif here, we kind of understand. I mean, at least for me, I kind of understand. I kind of understand why Ferrari, like all this hypercar company, are doing this.
Yeah.
Because first and foremost, that's the way they make money, and the way that they make heritage out of it, because they wanted to make it as exclusive as possible and as little quantity as possible. So it's kind of like a hype, right? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, when you drop a new shoes from Nike, let's say, or Adidas, new shoes drop with, you know, Air Force One or something. That exclusivity, the quality is low, but the production line is still there.
Right.
So it's just the way they hype up things. I guess that's the way I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And just the way they hype up things, just to the way that they get most of the customers into it. Because when it's like when a car is limited versus when a car is unlimited.
Yeah.
So at least that's the way I look at it. But for me as a person, as personal, for me, I don't really into all those limited products. They are not cars.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's an interesting thing if you think about it, right? Because you said it perfectly. The production line is still there, right?
Yeah.
And okay, I understand maybe with something like Ferrari is a little bit more understandable to me. But are we really ready to do that with our regular stuff, right? Like, what if you have to jump through these kind of hoops for your next phone?
Yeah.
Or to get that type phone that you
what
want.
If you have to buy a several pixel to get a Pixel 9?
Right, exactly.
Which is stupid, to be
Right.
honest.
Exactly my point, you know? So it's like, when is it kind of okay to do this versus not, you know?
I guess when it's okay to do it is when the product is, let's say I'm designing a furniture, right? Like, and that furniture is handmade, and that furniture is heritage, that furniture is handcrafted to perfection. Then that business model will work. But if it's as simple as a phone that is mass production, then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because for me, in order to experience that, I wanted to have that final product to be perfect and to be handcrafted, to be like careful to details and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if it's like a camera or a phone, that is, we all know how that made. It's not handcrafted, it's just machine and production line, then it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But if it's one of a kind furniture, or one of a kind pen, let's say, or one of the kind jewelry, then of course.
Yeah.
Or even one of a kind knife for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, then of course I get it why it does that. But if it's your average product, then no.
Yeah, because it's interesting. At least for me, like, my current plan is to only limit, or to only sell like a limited number of each one of my designs, right? Like, once it's out there, once I've done the run, it's done, right? And part of that is to ensure that it's a unique, special thing,
right?
You know, like, if you keep making a thing, it loses its inherent value, right? And I want people to not only have the value of that thing, but also for their purchase of my product to increase in value for them, right? So if there's only 300, for example, of my kimonos, and they're never going to be made again, then if somebody owns one, or let's say somebody trashes one and loses it forever or whatever, now there's only 299 left in the world, and that that the value of each one that exists now goes up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I want people to feel that way about my products, that like every single one is like is of value to them, you know, not just another thing, you know.
And we truly believe that for a product unboxing experience, every product needs to have a good unboxing experience, let alone your simple pen, as simple as pen. It needs to have a good unboxing experience, a good quality packaging, so that when you receive the product, even though it's cheap, when you receive the product, you will enjoy the process of opening it up, using the product, and you'll be satisfied.
Oh yeah.
At least that's what a brand should be, and at least that's what a good product should be.
Yeah. Speaking of, actually, I just got my packaging for, you know, because a friend reminded me of that recently. And so I went and I ordered a bunch of packaging stuff for the release of one of my products. And it's definitely going to make it cooler, but dang. Like, dang. I'll show you. Hold on a second. Let me just finish doing these holes.
Let us know. Do you guys love when you have a product? Will you will you enjoy the process of unboxing it, even though you know what is inside, or will you just trash it? For me, at least, if I see a good packaging, I will keep it, and then I will keep on going back and see that packaging and just think, and then just sink it down and then think of, oh, the packaging enhance the product.
Dude, look at this bag of crinkle paper.
Oh my god.
Dude, it's literally 2 pounds of this stuff. Like, freaking crazy. But the idea is that when you get my thing, check it out. This is actually cool. I'll have the black tins, and then you'll open it, and then it will be full with this stuff, right, on the inside, and the product will be sitting
Nice
right there, you know. And because the thing has got a nice color,
it's
it'll
a big contrast. Yeah,
exactly. And what I'll probably do is like throw like I showed you I was going to do the poker chip, right? I'll probably throw the sticker and the poker chip on the bottom, you know, and then you'll have this really nice like unboxing experience where
no, I can imagine when you open it up, you feel like when a packaging, when a packaging is done right is when you hold it up and you feel the packaging inside that has weight, and you feel the tension of the packaging, you feel the texture of that packaging, and when you open it up, you feel resistant of that packaging. That's when you know, oh, the packaging is done right.
The real question is, should I put a sticker on the outside? I you know why I was leaning towards a no is because there's no guarantee that I'll consistently center it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Are
you going to have another packaging on top of that black?
So what it ships in will be the other pack. I've got a bubble mailer that this is going to go in, and that's all black as well.
Maybe when you get it, we can show people here
Yeah.
how our design process go, because I feel like this is very important for them to understand how a good packaging is also included as design process, and
but
how our packaging is thought through.
I'll have like this, put my chip inside, put like a sticker, or I'll probably put the sticker on bottom because it's a little bit bigger than the chip, you know, and then have this.
You have to be very careful because when people open that up, they see that
right,
product.
That's my concern.
Yeah,
right,
you will just get that product and then they'll close it and they'll throw it away or put
it away. That's my worry,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is like, and it's one of the reasons I haven't ordered the poker chips yet, because I'm thinking, if like, given how this sits right now, this is a good size for the bead, but like if I put the bead and the coin may get lost, right? Like it doesn't stand on its own. So
can you have some indications or anything that says, like a simple graphic, like an arrow or something that says something's in the bottom?
See, what would be better for that is this guy, right? Because then if you see the poker chip here, boom, you know, the poker chip's in here, you get some stickers, you get the card, like all of that stuff. So I'm leaning towards, if I do the poker chips, doing it in here, or maybe not doing the poker chips, because this really should just be for the one thing. I think that's just my thought process, because even putting stickers at the bottom of it, all of that crinkled paper obscures the bottom. You know,
so for this,
like you don't see the bottom.
It should only be open it up and you see the kind of jewelry inside.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Jewelry inside.
Yeah.
And if you really wanted to have all that, you know, coins and stickers, you can get a pouch or just get something to just drop in there with the packaging and everything, just send it in one pack.
That's what I'm thinking, right? Like if I do this and I do this, and this is what you get in the mail, this makes more sense.
See, if I get this in the mail, I will be very happy because I got more stuff.
Right.
It's not just that cylinder.
Yeah.
I got more stuff. I will feel like, oh, I spend the money wisely. See, that's the other thing that when you guys are designing packaging that you guys have to think about. If ever going to design your own knife like what Sherif is doing here, you have to think about how when people receive it, how are they gonna think of the way they spend their money? Where does their money go in? Even though that product's $50 and then you are charging $50, but for them, they might not think that product is worth $50. They might think the product is worth $30. So you have to put that $20 extra into something else.
Yeah,
as worth it.
Exactly.
That's why I say a quantity in the packaging, like more stuff will be better. Like if like a sticker or like a pouch or even like a cleaning tool will be good.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like
your video is gone.
yeah, no, I stopped it for a second. I had to readjust the jewels, but didn't want to do that on camera. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, that like it's a whole psychology behind it, right? And like the mailer is this guy, So I got it black to match, so I can put both of these guys
Yeah.
inside of here, close it, slap a label on it.
Now that looks very prestige because it's black and it's very clean. Even though it's not pricey, but when you receive it in your hand, you'll feel the weight, you'll feel the size of it, and then you would imagine in your mind, you would already think, oh, $50 is wise spent.
Yeah. Especially if you get, let's say, like 3 stickers, business card, poker chip, bead for like $45-50, yeah.
So there's a lot of thinking going through a packaging that is not only the product is out, it's out, but ultimately when you're trying to ship it to people, the packaging is the first image that people are gonna see. So the packaging done right is very important.
Exactly.
And even the graphic on the packaging is very important.
Yeah.
That's why for me and for Sherif, when we talk about this stuff, we care so much about the detail of all the graphics, all the materials, all the indications that it's going on through the graphic design and going on to the packaging itself.
Yeah.
And that we are not even talking about a product yet.
Yeah. Because every single element is part of the experience.
Yeah.
You want people to handle the thing and say, okay, I spent my money well with this guy. Because it's like a good salesman versus a shitty salesman. A good salesman makes you feel like you got a deal. A shitty salesman makes you feel like you got your money stolen from you,
And also one big advice and one big advice for you guys is if you ever get into this route, the best presentation it's when you are not there and then the presentation can talk itself.
Yeah.
And the packaging, it's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Packaging can talk itself. You don't have to be there and explain why the packaging is this and why the product is this.
Yeah.
Best presentation is have it on the wall or have it on somebody else's hand. They will figure out what to do and they will figure out what the product is.
Yeah. And the value.
Yeah,
right?
That's the best presentation. You don't even have to open your mouth.
Dude, whatchamacallit? This really pissed me off in that sense. When I got this coin and I got this little coin slip for it, dude, these came in the cheapest of cheap, clear plastic stuff, and a nothing bubble mailer. There's literally no price difference between getting a black bubble mailer and a white one. So why didn't this come in a black one that feels more quality, right? And even though the coin is heavy, it's a sizable chunk of metal, right? The presentation of it was really poor, and I didn't really feel like this. I got what I paid for, right? No questions asked, but it didn't feel special. And it didn't feel like an event. And with something like this, especially with how much work that this company put into the details of this thing, there are a ton of details that are not coming through the camera. But look at all of that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
But the presentation itself kind of let it down.
It did. It absolutely did.
Yeah.
So.
And also, having a good presentation will actually win your trust back.
Yes.
For the customer.
Yeah.
So I
100%.
think, so I think all this is all this is designed like designed to the minimum, to design to the millimeters of
Like even my packaging that's gonna come is the traditional like Kaiser box packaging, but it's gonna have my
yeah,
logo.
exactly, and
You
that's
know
pretty. That's high end look, and it feels nice, and it feels in the hand nice.
exactly, and then like that carries on the theme
Yeah,
into I have all black packaging, all
yeah,
black, kind of stuff to allow what's inside to kind of show, you know. So um it's yeah, dude, I try to be a little bit Cheeto, I want you guys to feel, like you guys get something
like it's not it's
quality.
not it's not really, I wouldn't say it's fancy, but it's definitely a way of creating the ultimate experience of unboxing with knife.
Hmm.
And for Sherif to do this, he treat you guys as a VIP.
Yeah,
Every
that's what I
product needs
wanted.
to be, yeah, every product that is out there from Sherif's hand, it needs to be a VIP experience.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's basically it. Like let's say if you get a Google or Apple product, in this conversation, I will actually say Apple product package is really really good.
It
And then
is
when you
exactly.
receive it, you'll feel like you spend that money wisely, and you feel like they treat you well.
You feel that you see how much thought is put into the
Yeah,
packaging, and you think, wow, they put this much thought into the product. Then, if the thinking of the packaging is this high quality,
right,
you
right,
know,
yeah,
so you make that assumption of the brand,
yeah. And
like
you kind of just, it's like you kind of just you kind of feel like just punching people in the face, like this is what it is, this is what it is.
like eventually I'm gonna do my own set of coins, and like I'd love to do, for example, like something like this, like again, nice presentation, if this, okay, I'll need a bigger one, but
Uh-huh.
again, if it comes in one of these tins, you know you're going to open it up, you're going to be presented with this thing sitting on a bed of black paper, you're going to open it up, and you're going to be like, oh wow, okay, you're going to be immediately impressed with the quality of the thing that you got.
Yeah,
you know
yeah. And you
so
can say everything you want about, oh, this is just faking it. Yeah, it's faking it, but you have to fake it good. You have to fake it so
yeah.
that people will think, oh, this is worth it.
No,
And
like
this is what brand image does, is
yeah,
to manipulate you, but manipulate it in a good way.
like it's one of those things, like this is like one of the boxes I got my knife in, and it's like I don't know what I expected, but it's not what I expected, because it's just like the generic foam inside, and even the certificate of authenticity doesn't fit, which I thought was really interesting. So like
Yeah,
the certificate
they
of
just curve it
authenticity
and then
is
just
like,
trying to tap it in.
yeah, it's like jammed in there, and I always have to be cognizant, because like if you tip the lid, the foam and this falls out, and it's always like a little bit of, like, it's not like an inconvenience, but it's something I always have to be aware of when I put the thing back inside, because I'm just like,
Yeah. See,
okay, and
if
and the foam isn't even cut out for it.
if we are
you
doing
know
that packaging, that product packaging right there, what we'll do is we'll probably laser cut out a hole of that knife, and then a laser cut out a hole of that label, and just
so
sit on top of each other, and then just lay it out
you know who
nicely.
who does that is my buddy Israel of Arcane Designs, right? Like he got his own packaging. He has his logo stitched on the outside. It comes with like a leatherette kind of box. You open it, and the shape inside is pre-cut for the product he's selling you.
Yeah.
And
And
it just
that's a correct way to do it.
yeah,
First, it
feels so
feels
much
nice,
better.
and secondly, it's organized, and third, it feels high end because
Mm-hmm.
you know you use machine to cut, you use different materials to present.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like exactly this, Crispy. It's the difference between a sports jacket and jeans and a three-piece suit. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the same person inside of it, but it's the presentation of who and what you are that is the compelling part, you know?
See, like for me, I always like to open a packaging that is this like the earphone, because when you open it, it's just right there, and then nicely circle and just mold it together, and then when you open it, it's like opening up a jewelry box.
Yeah, dude. Like, let me see if I can grab one. If it's not deep in the bellows of my closet here. Oh, sweet, perfect. Have one almost right on top. Oh. So yeah, like, look at that. Nice matte leatherette. Has the logo on top. Nice red highlight, which are his colors, black and red. Nice zippers. You open it up. Underneath the top foam, or no, maybe not underneath the top foam, but inside you will find certificate of authenticity, a couple of stickers, you know, and I have some stuff in there right now. You can ignore that, but the shape is laser cut.
No, that's a really nice laser cut, actually.
Yeah, and it's nice, dense foam. Yeah. It's not like soft, squishy foam. It's like the kind of foam that you can't squeeze easily, you know? So you get this, and there's a finger relief cut too. So you can get it, open it, you know, or remove it easily. And you have just nice product, and I hold on to it, A, as an excellent example, right? But B, if I ever want to resell it, I can put it in here. I have the certificate of authenticity. I have the original stickers it came with, and I can, you know, this increases the value to the next person. So, it's surprising, but like it makes a difference. It absolutely makes a difference. Versus, mind you, by the way, like this company, right? You guys all recognize this box, right? But it's a paper box. You slide it open. This is all extra stuff from the people who did this like custom run. But usually your product is right here in like a plastic bag. That's it. Total throwaway.
See, like a product like this, a packaging like this can be done right and can be feel premium as well. It just the way it's just how you choose your materials and how you create the packaging precisely, like carefully. There's a way to create something that is kind of expensive feel to it on that type of packaging as well. So it's not a good packaging is not really about money. It's just how you design and how you present.
Yeah, like again, we talked about this knife a couple of live streams ago, right? But I hate how it came. You have a generic padded bag with this, you know, Velcro on it, which they threw on a patch, which like this patch doesn't fit on anything else but this, right? You open it, the knife is literally like loose inside, or maybe it fits inside of here, but like not really well. You get the same generic cloth you get everywhere else. You get a certificate of authenticity and a sticker, and it's like you don't feel like it's special, you know, like at all. So yeah, see, Cole, I'm with you. Like the Kaiser premium box feels good. Like the materials that it's made out of, it's that soft touch material, Joe. It's like paper, but
Yeah,
it's got that soft touch.
I know exactly
to
what
it.
you're talking. What that is.
Yeah, and it just feels luxurious,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the difference between
Different density of paper and different density of foam and different thickness of the foam
exactly.
of paper, and then different ink of the packaging, a graphic.
Yeah,
On the same product that is cheap, and then you switch that to all that stuff that I just talked about. I just said it will actually make the product feels more nicer.
dude, literally, these guys could probably save a bit of money on all of this printing if they literally made this a matte black in that kind of luxurious feel material, right?
Just like the one that you have, just like your packaging.
Same with this interior. If they made it the same thing, all black, and they literally just had their name in white, or maybe just even this like kind of gold logo.
Yeah,
that's all they would need.
That's all they need. Yeah,
and it would feel, this thing would feel so much more premium to get. It's crazy. You know, like again, you think about like mine is no different than the Kaiser, right? Same exact box.
This feels much nicer because you're using matte black, cured black with high contrast chrome silver print on it.
But it feels so much better.
Yeah,
and this isn't particularly thick.
Yeah,
you know, so it's just like the soft touch is so nice. And again, same with mine. Like you get this, it's familiar, but it's familiar good. You know, like, oh yeah, Cole nailed this. The fact that this opens from the middle is just so nice, you know, versus you sliding it and it's already open, or you sliding it and it opens.
Because you know why that feels nice for you guys? Because it feels like a
doorway,
a painting.
Yeah,
you open it up, it's like a painting with a frame. That's why the psychology there is there. That's why you feel like, oh, it's a nice packaging.
It's a presentation.
Yeah.
You know, like 100%.
Was gonna say, I also have another packaging idea that's a little bit crazy, but what if you have your knife vertical and then have a cylinder shape packaging? You just pull it up, and then you have your knife just standing there. I know that it's a little bit hard to do, but hey.
There is a company that's kind of done that. They're a company called Jack Wolf, and they package everything in a tube.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. It's not as fully realized as what you're talking about. But let me see if I have my Jack Wolf tube.
It's like the idea. It's like you have your like your what is that called? When you present something in school or present something in a room, you will always have that standing up.
I'm not sure what I did with that tube. I know I didn't throw it out, but I am not finding it. And if I can't find it quickly, It means I would have to dig for it, which
Oh my god.
not really good for the live stream.
Yeah.
But it is. They do put their stuff in a metal tube, but I like your twist that when you open the metal tube, it's kind of suspended in there, like
It's like
vertical.
it's like when you opened up a watch, right? You open up the watch,
Yeah.
and then that watch is just standing there,
Yeah.
like suspended itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's hard to do, but I'm sure there's a way to design it in a way that it can stand it up.
Yeah.
Because whenever I see a packaging that is a knife packaging, it's always lying down on the platform.
Yeah.
With, one side showing. But what if, because a lot of you guys' knife are really cool, and Sherif also showed me a lot of cool design knife that is worth having it 360 around.
Yeah.
Look at it, and I think having that standing up, sustain itself will actually give you a good look of the whole product all around.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, there's still a lot of opportunity in the realm of packaging for EDC stuff to really kind of like level up, you know. I definitely, one of the challenges for you guys to also know, yes, yeah, exactly. Right, that like
Exactly.
opening and then
Yeah.
everything is kind of like standing right there,
And then
yeah.
that outside can be, styrofoam foam.
Yeah,
Just
dude,
clear
Cheeto.
matte, or even like a smoke black clear.
Yeah, actually, like Kaiser boxes are nicer than almost any other company in the game, you know, because like I've got stuff now from CKF, from Spartan, Microtech, Tucson Spyderco, Benchmade, Cold Steel, Alliance Designs. Who am I leaving out? Riot, Best Tech, Riot and Best Tech OEM stuff, right? Like Kaiser's are probably hands down the best factory boxes. Now, what Arcane Design, he has a third-party company. So, like, that's why his are laser cut foam, like stuff like that, because he actually spends the extra coin to get that made separately.
Like, I would say, if you want to go that extra mile for your premium
yeah,
people, you can actually put some sketch in it. Concept sketch with your signature in it, just a few photos.
I have thought about that actually.
But that's something else. That's too much.
Yeah.
But if you really want to go extra mile for people in the ice stream, if you want to go extra mile to make it very, very premium and very, very special, that's the way to do it.
Dude, actually, you know what would be nice though is the certificate of authenticity. If that had the CAD blueprint,
that would be nice too.
On the backside.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Right. So you see that see-through model that's on the card, and then you flip it, and then it has the whole certificate of authenticity thing. Nice.
Just small things, detail that can enhance the product experience.
Yeah. The reason I'm writing that down is because I need to redesign my original certificate of authenticity and order it. But so one of the other things that I'll throw out to you guys is like having a cool box and cool unboxing is important. The very challenging element of that, for example, is you can do it, but it also has to be able to fit in traditional shipping packages.
Yeah.
So back when I was in doing the drone stuff, my very first box that I bought, like, I don't know, like 100 boxes for, and it was not cheap, was almost like a shoebox sized box to contain all of the parts, right? And I didn't do laser cut foam. I had like cheaper foam to fill in there, you know, and have everything in the pieces, and it was a nice presentation and everything, because I was asking for premium money for my product, because it was a premium product, even though like the carbon fiber and everything was like better quality than what everybody else was using standard in the industry. And then I took it to my first store, who had, you know, was purchasing or was interested in purchasing like 20 of them. And the guy straight up told me to my face, he's like, dude, I'm not even sure I can carry a lot of these because of how much shelf space they're going to take up. Yeah. And if I put these into a box and ship them, it's going to move me to the next tier up in terms of shipping like containers. And that's going to cost me more money. So not only do you have to come up with a good unboxing experience, you need to come up with a good unboxing experience that can fit in standard shipping like containers and boxes.
Yeah, that's the most important.
So it's really an interesting challenge. So like, for example, when I see stuff like this, yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's a nice box to use for stuff later on down the line, right? But then the question I immediately have to ask, for example, where is mine? I had one. Where did I put the damn thing? It's not like you lose a box. Oh, there it is. There. Come here, dude. This is the standard like flat rate box for USPS. This thing bulges out this box. You see?
Yeah.
Look how that's not fully closed. And then if I jam it closed, like I'm really at the limits of what this box can accept. Yeah. You know? So do I really need this whole thing? You know? And that's by the way why I got these bubble mailers, right? Because the difference between shipping in this box versus shipping in the bubble mailer, this costs $8 to ship. This costs like $3.50 to ship.
There you go.
Yep. Right? So if I'm going to give free shipping on this thing, right, I want it to cost a little bit less for me. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Because if you think, I'm not selling one, I'm going to be selling 50 of these beads. So 50 times the difference between those is what? $4.50, right? That's 200 and
a lot of money.
Like $225, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
Something like that. That's a lot of money for
just
that.
In shipping.
Yeah, that's in shipping.
That's literally this decision saves me $250.
So it's not
$25.
It's not telling you guys to not do anything crazy or any design, but we are saying is that be creative.
Exactly.
Yeah, be creative of your packaging, design, and of your product.
Mm-hmm.
In any other way, in any way.
It makes such a difference. And it, again, that little bubble mailer doesn't feel any less premium, you know? So it's like, okay, I still get a quality experience. The people are going to see this black thing come in the mail. They're going to be like, ooh, I'm excited for what this is. They open it. Everything else is color coordinated as well versus that white box, right? And in the meantime, just by going with that stuff, like again, I check the size of this, would it fit in this bubble mailer? Check the weights, all of that stuff, right? And I realize I can save on top of everything like $225.
Yeah.
Nice packaging experience and save money. That's the way to do it, bros. That is the way to do it. So on that note, we've been going for hour and 45 minutes. It's almost 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're going to wind it down and say goodnight, you guys.
Comments.
Hope you enjoyed everything that we talked about tonight.
What do we have for the last few comments? Let's answer all that and it would done.
But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being on the stream. And good night. Joe, any last words?
No.
All right. Peace, y'all.